Hi, class. We are moving on to our next module, which is Gender Roles Introduction. And in this chapter, we're going to be talking about gender roles. So, what you're going to be learning in this unit is you're going to explore the section from Writing from Your Inner Voice, Chapter 4, which is titled Gender Roles. And you will read articles from this section, so I'm going to go over those with you. The purpose of this unit is to introduce you to the content in the text as well as teach you the skill of highlighting and annotating. So we're still building these skills of highlighting and annotating, but just on a higher level. Since this course is a prerequisite for a lot of courses where you are reading to remember large chunks of information, the skills you learn in this class will help you succeed in your other courses. The annotations from your reading will help you write an MLA formatted research essay with a works cited page. So what you're going to do is you will have to read selections from the textbook. You will be assigned tasks to highlight and annotate texts. You will upload your highlighting and annotating results for your assignment. You will have a quiz on the reading selections. You will have a discussion about your reactions to reading selections from the textbook on highlighting and annotating and MLA writing. So upon completion of this unit, students will be able to annotate reading materials by using strategies outlined in the lesson, distinguish the difference between passive and active readers, define differences between highlighting a text passively versus actively annotating in the side margins of a reading passage, break down chunks of reading material by marking and highlighting their texts with specific coding for definitions of words, supporting details, and important quotes. Write in the margins of their books their responses to the readings and create an MLA formatted essay with a works cited page. So that's what you'll be doing in this unit. This unit talks about active and passive readers. So here's some strategies and how to be an active reader and use different types of devices to help you remember what you're reading on a higher level. So I know we've talked about this before, but this is just reiterating and reaffirming what we've talked about in the past, but on a higher level, because you're expected to remember more from this chapter than you did from your previous chapters. And there's a lot of layers here. So this is Stephanie Kuntz. Actually, there's no article on this page. It's just the video. I do expect you to quote from her in your essay for this unit. So please take really good notes on what she talks about in this video and make sure and find some good quotes that you can relate to her with. We do also explore different genres and eras of gender roles and family relationships. So this is a clip from the Donna Reed show, which was a very famous show in the 1950s. It was one of the most popular. It depicted a mother, father, two children. The mother is married to a doctor, and they were considered the quote-unquote ideal family. So I want you to think about what images these evoke for you. Does this look like an ideal family as far as you're concerned? Why or why not? Is this a reality? Or is this a fantasy that television made up for people to kind of idealize and try to live up to, but never actually get there? So this is the beginning of the Donna Reed show. So kind of look at like how she behaves as a mother in the morning. Some interesting things to look at here. I'm not going to show you the video in this overview, but I want you to watch it. But if you notice that these kids are on their way to school, so the beginning of the show starts with the mother getting her kids ready for school. So the mom is dressed up really nicely. She's got her hair done, makeup. She's wearing pearls. I want you guys to notice the pearls um, of all these women in the 50s. The significance of wearing pearls was so important. It showed that you had class. It showed that you were an upper middle class woman, and it showed that you had dignity, the idea of wearing pearls. So kind of take a look at that. And then also, this is another show, Leave It to Beaver. I put some episodes that you guys can watch. And this conversation that Beaver has with his mother is really interesting. And it was some challenging ideas about gender roles. Leave It to Beaver was also another very popular TV show during the 1950s, and that show depicted the ideal family and what we were supposed to live up to. Their homes were immaculately cleaned. The mother, it was always at home and prepared meals and took care of the house. Now I want you guys notice again the pearls on June Cleaver. So she's wearing pearls and she's at home preparing dinner in this scene, and she's all dressed up with her hair made up. She's got earrings and she's wearing pearls. So the presence of pearls is really important. The father is always wearing a suit and tie. Some when we're talking about gender roles, I don't want you to only look at female gender roles, but male gender roles as well, and how men were expected to dress in those days. So the father was clean cut with a suit. And then I want you guys to think about love and marriage and relationships. So what does love have to do with marriage and family and children? So I want you to think about gender roles, men and women, and the expectations that come from each side. So the idea is that first two people fall in love, they have a relationship, and then they go on to creating a family out of that love. But I want you guys to think about, with the divorce rates and problems in relationships, that do husbands and wives really have a strong relationship with each other to be able to build a family, or is there or was their initial interest in each other just to have a family? And then when the kids grow up, they realize that there's no relationship between the two of them. I'm not trying to throw something in there, but just for you guys to think about, does love and family, even though we simply couple those two things together, does it really is it really like that? Or people just want this ideal family, but there's no relationship between the mother and the father, and so their relationship is about building a family, not about building a relationship with each other. The idea is that when you fall in love, you build a relationship with each other, you share yourselves with each other, and then you create a family. So I want you guys to think about where all that might have gone wrong in our society and our expectations, because we do have shows like Leave It to Beaver and the Donna Reed shows that really pushed having a family, and that having a stable family was really what it was supposed to be about. But maybe people went too far they jumped the gun. Before actually having a relationship with each other, they went to having a family, but then they didn't realize that they didn't have a good connection with each other for the marriage to stay together. So I want you guys to think about that, and what your thoughts are about these gender roles and the expectation that a woman stays home and takes care of the kids, and that the man goes out and works. Of course, we've had different gender roles these days, but this was considered the ideal family. You have a mother, father, a baby. There was always a baby. So please keep that in mind. that you couldn't be a family without a child. So if a couple couldn't have children or they didn't have children, there was something wrong with them. There was definitely something out of kilter because the expectation is that the woman has a child, and that the man is supposed to provide for the woman and the child. That was the expectation of the 1950s. I'm not saying that that is so today, but that was the expectation. So here's some images of women in the 1950s, and I want you guys to note that there are pearls in this picture, but in these pictures, but you may not be able to see them. But the women wore flared skirts, so they weren't looking too quote unquote sexy, but they were just sexy enough to show that they had curves and a figure. And here's some more pictures of women from the 1950s and what was expected of them. And yes, women wore gloves in those days when they went outside. Hat and gloves was required. So then you will also have a gender roles quiz. I do have the KWL chart that I would like you guys to click on the link and go to. So it's, what do I already know? What do I want to know? And what have I learned? So I would like you guys to fill this chart out. It's going to help you think about your essay and what you're going to be writing about for your essay for this chapter. And there are also more mind maps and annotation notebooks that you can make in this chapter. These are just different strategies to help you remember what you're reading so that you read on a higher level. So these are your some skills for you that I've added. I'm certainly not going to collect it, but it would be very helpful for you if you're going to write an essay to have a lot of notes in your essay. There's also a video here on Jill Kilbourne, and she talks about advertising and women's roles in advertising. She makes some profound statements, and it's all connected to gender roles and women and men and in relationships and how they see each other and what their expectations are of each other. So I also have a bunch of commercials here that I want you guys to look at. I start from the 1950s and I go all the way to the present. So this was the first Barbie commercial. I know Barbie is a very popular person, but when you're watching this commercial, I want you to think about the words in the commercial. What is it saying? Write these down because you might want to think about, you know, when we're thinking about gender roles and women, you might want to think about the actual language in this commercial and what that means to viewers and children of that era that were being molded into the adults that they became. This commercial is also a commercial, it's a Dodge commercial, and it exploits women definitely, but there's some other things going on in this commercial. Watch it, please. Again, write down the language. So this commercial was from 1971. No one can ever make a commercial like this anymore, but I wonder if some of the ideas in this commercial are still present today. So watch that. And then I have here Charlie and Chaz commercial. This was made in the late 1970s when women were trying to take a stand for equality. And kind of this commercial, which is about perfume and aftershave, but it's really about men and women and gender roles and how they're switching and changing. So in the late 1970s, a lot of the gender roles changed. Charlie was the name of a female perfume. And that name alone, by calling it Charlie, which is a male name, gave women another outlet for equality. And Chaz was supposed to be made for men. So watch this commercial again. What are your thoughts? Write these down because you're going to have a discussion on them, and so and you're going to have to include it somewhere in your papers. So just think about that. And the most recent commercial here is a Calvin Klein commercial, and I want you guys to think about how the body images are being exploited, even in 2017, which is the most recent ad that I have for you. How are they exploiting body images still today, and how different are these commercials from the 1950s? So I want you guys to think about that, and you will have a discussion, and you're going to have to talk about the commercials and the articles that you read. And then you have another gender roles quiz, and then you have your essay that you're going to turn in. And here's your essay question. So the essay question really is more it evolves to current day. So although women have gained significant power over the last century, which we're looking at from the 1950s to present time, why does it appear that women's movements have made only superficial changes? Has society addressed the voices of the LGBTQ community and the transgender community? What role should the media play to giving consideration to all gender groups of people? How does legislation play a significant role in the changes that we should expect from our leaders? So, do we still live in a patriarchal society as a whole? So you should define patriarchal in your paper and what it means. And when you are defining that, you should go back and look at the past, those commercials and also those TV shows that I've added in this module to make you think about gender roles in general. So that is your module. So please get started and working on taking notes of the pages. So you will be required to write an essay for this and take some quizzes and hopefully learn a lot. And that is it for now.